One. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're
Happy.
recording early.
Yeah, so it's not Saturday or not Sunday for us, it's Saturday. And it's hella early in the morning. Not hella. It's early for a Saturday for me. It's 10:30.
Early-ish. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend about us. If you want to buy us a coffee, that link will be in the description. We always appreciate it. Um, yeah, and thank you for all the support we've been getting. Shout out to Aaron, who got us a coffee last week, and left some really kind words. Honestly, like given how the show goes sometimes, like y'all's kind words are why we still do this. And of course, I love getting to talk to Sonya at least once a week. So that works too. How are you, Tanya?
I'm doing well. Today was this week was kind of chill for me.
Hmm.
Um, and then I'm super excited because tomorrow is May the 4th.
That's
So it's
right.
time for me to get back into my Star Wars download study month. I kind of started by watching Star Wars Resistance, which is a cartoon which I never watched before. Andor is out, and so I'll probably be binge
True.
watching that this weekend. So yeah, and got my Star Wars gear going on a bike ride with people tomorrow. Um, for those of you who are in the Bay Area who are familiar with Bart is doing a special Star Wars train tomorrow.
Is
So
that you? Was that your doing?
no, it was
Oh,
not, but I was one of the first to sign up because
yeah.
they share it internally and they're like, sign up. I'm like, yes. So super excited
That's
about that.
right. That's fun. That's really fun. Yeah, I'm probably gonna just like I have a lot of work to do. I'm like behind on work, as folks know, and people have left really
Yeah.
kind words. I was like traveling. My mom was doing very well. I'm pretty sure she's ready for me to get out of her face, but I'm not ready. So there you go. Um, but I got just like super behind on everything. So my plan is to like watch the original trilogy while doing some work tomorrow.
Nice.
That's the goal. And I have my
Yeah.
like chewy sweatshirt that I'm gonna wear, and some like just comfy leggings and go to work. Um,
That's how you do it.
yeah,
That's a typical Star Wars weekend.
yeah.
Watching reruns on the television while you over
Hmm.
the weekend. That's great.
Yeah,
And then also we both saw Sinners
we
this week.
did. We
Yes.
did. Shout out to Ryan Coogler. Cougs, so good.
It
So good.
was.
I went to a theater, it was a little turned up, and I went to a matinee. I was like, what's going on here? It was just like it just kept being little stuff, and then there was like a little baby there. When I say little baby, I mean like maybe 6 months. They kept like kind of crying. I was like, listen, I
Well,
don't parent shame. I know that
yeah,
it is hard to have kids. I do not have any kids. I try to
right.
support. Um, don't bring your baby to see centers. That's it.
Well,
That's just
I mean, that I was just gonna say, I mean, that's typically the time of day that parents bring their kids to the movies. Now, I don't know about the choice of that particular movie, but during the day, matinees are prime children
sure.
time. Yeah.
Sure. Um,
But
but yeah,
you know,
so that was cool. Happy to Chat Center is not gonna do any spoilers quite yet for y'all, but just to say that I thought that the cast was like so stellar, so much talent. Um, Michael B. Jordan probably his best performance for me ever. Tara had me
yeah.
cracking up. She said she wants him to submit for the Academy Awards for both lead and supporting. I was like, you know what? Why not?
Yeah. I have, for me, it was the soundtrack, man. I First of all, as someone that used to play a musical instrument, whenever I hear the blending of different genres with classical instruments,
Mm,
it's amazing to me. And so to hear a mix of blues with violins and all that good stuff, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I'm gonna have to cop it. And I heard that it was produced by Raphael Sadiq, who's like one of my favorite artists. So
Yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
going to
Oakland
cop. I'm
connection.
gonna Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna cop that soundtrack. But it was amazing. And Miles, I don't know how to say his last name, Miles Catton. His voice
Phenomenal.
is so phenomenal. So for those of you who are music fans, blues fans, all kinds of music fans, because he had all kinds of genres up in there, you can watch that movie or at least buy the soundtrack.
Yeah. Um, I would also say that like Miles like used to travel with her, the
Yeah,
singer, so it's like, such an open connection. And Raphael Sadiq, what I mean, can't say more about how much I love him.
right.
Be Here with him and D'Angelo like remains in regular rotation. I have to listen to it a few times a week. So
Oh yeah.
also, I tweeted you, so I'm on this like, okay, I'm doing my
Yes.
I'm doing my health stuff, closing my rings every day, like just like all the things. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna treat myself and I'm gonna get like I'm gonna order some like Brussels sprouts with like
Mhm.
chicken or like grilled chicken or something.
From
It
where? I
was
need
the
to know
worst.
where.
I'm still in Milwaukee, so it was the worst
Okay.
Brussels sprouts I've ever had in my life. I was like, what's going on? They were like kind of gummy and nasty. And I was like, the first person I thought about was you. Because if you listen to the show, Tanya is like an expert on Brussels sprouts. So like I had them and I had to like reach out to Tanya immediately. Like they doing us wrong.
Yeah, I saw
It's the
that.
kind of Brussels sprouts that like when you were a kid, who like, I hate Brussels sprouts. They had these.
Oh,
Like it was
oh. I'm so hurt for you. I
ugh.
am. I can't.
And then I
Yeah,
was
I
just
that
hungry, so I had a yogurt for dinner. I was mad.
so it ruined the rest of the whole plate for you. You just like, I can't. Pushing this
It ruined
aside.
me. I was
It
so
ruined
ugh.
you. Oh, I'm
Anyway,
sorry. Sorry that you had that experience.
Anyway, let's talk GH, and then we said, and we're gonna leave some time at the very end. So if you're people who watch Beyond the Gates, like stay to the end. And then I also
Yes.
have put out for folks if they wanted us to do like premiere. So it obviously won't be live, but
Right.
when we upload to YouTube, for people who watch on YouTube and don't listen, but if you watch on YouTube, if you do the premieres, people can like be in the chat together, and then we can sometimes get in the chat. So we won't do that today because we're recording a day early. But once we get back on our Sunday schedule, I'll start uploading them as premieres so that sometimes we can watch
Okay.
together.
Okay. Awesome.
All of that done. Tanya, who was your performer of the week? I think I know.
Well, for me, Jane Elliott,
I mean, yes,
uh, Amanda Setton,
yes.
Jeannie Francis, and yes, I have to give it to Alexa Havens just as the
I do
scene
not, but I
partner.
hear you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, as the scene partner with Jeannie Francis, and
Hmm.
I felt like they were really powerful, and so give it up to both. I think Alexis is amazing. Lulu right now is pissing me off and probably a lot of people. But yeah, all four of those ladies have to give it up. And actually want to give it up to the actor, I can't remember his name, who plays Geo. Man, he's
Oh, his
like
name
pulling
is
some
Gio.
weight. Oh, his name is Geo. Geo, good
Hmm.
job this week, man. He
Hmm.
had like somebody put together a meme of him and Sonny because they had the same like kind of expression. Like Gio was putting that same kind of expression on his face when he
Mm.
was upset over what he was hearing. And it was just like
Mm.
very uncanny. I was like, all right.
I
But yeah,
wonder. So this is the kind of thing. If we ever had these people on for interviews, I wonder if he studied Maurice Bernard.
yeah.
Hmm.
Cause man, he's seeming more like his grandson than well the others. So
Rocco,
Rocco's
we'll
the
get
I
there.
guess Rocco's the only one. He'll get there maybe. He's taking on the substance abuse drinking, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, they Jane Elliott, man, when Brook Lynn was talking to Tracy about Lulu and was saying like you know, you only love Lulu because of Luke and that how Jane Elliott kind of caught her like
Hmm.
it was like the pain was in her throat as she was speaking. It was like, oh my God, it was so amazing. It was one of those like Amanda Setton really does great scenes with women in her life, either whether it's her
Yes.
mom or her grandmother. Um so yeah, those were just and I was tearing up.
Yeah. I
I was
mean,
like I was crying.
I
So
was
yeah.
I've recently started rewatching the Mindy Project. I don't know why I do that to myself. 'Cause I get mad at Mindy sometimes, but I forgot Amanda was in the show. And
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, so it's like very funny. She plays like a party girl kind of thing. And so like the
Uh-huh.
difference between um like what they've done with Brook Lynn and like what she did on this show is so interesting and like shows her range.
Okay.
But yeah, to your point, I love her scenes with Jane. I love it when she's in scenes with Rena.
Yeah.
Amanda is such a gem, and I'm gonna break the fourth wall a little bit when it comes to social media. It's been so weird. I don't know if you've noticed this. It started coming because the show had stopped being in my algorithm, but now GH is back in my Twitter algorithm, and a
Mhm.
lot of people are like anti Brooklyn. I was like really surprised, like very much
Wow.
like Dante has a right to know. They're mad at like Chase and Brooklyn. I was like, wow, I'm really watching the show a lot differently than people. That's
Hmm.
very fast. I mean, not, whatever. I'm not mad at people. Obviously, somebody will be mad over a show, but I was just like taken aback. But I do think that some of that stems from I'm gonna just say it. I think some of that stems from issues that people have with Amanda. I've heard people like I've seen people talk about like Amanda needs to be fired because she doesn't want to do love scenes or and I'm just like this
Oh,
woman is a powerhouse actress and is
right.
good with all of her scene partners, brings so much heart into this character of Brooklyn. I've
Hmm.
mostly always been pretty neutral on Brooklyn. She's not a character that I'm mad to see ever, but she's not a character that I like watch for.
Yeah.
But Amanda is an actress that I watch for. So I've
Right.
always just been curious about that. So it just really does feel like a carryover from how people have talked about this actress to how people are
Hmm.
now talking about, and I'm not blaming that on everyone or saying that's everyone, but it just feels like really consistent and like primed for there's always a woman on the show people hate that I don't. I'm always like, you don't like that person? Like, I'm always very confused. And this is like literally just a Twitter phenomenon. I haven't really seen it anywhere else. But yeah, I was like really surprised to see people be so anti Brooklyn and Chase because I'm like,
Mm.
I'm with it.
I tend to feel like the Twitter audiences are like way different than every other kind of audience.
Yeah,
And in general, Twitter now has become just such a pool for negativity.
true.
Um, so you're hypercritical about politics, you're hypercritical about social behavior, you're hypercritical
Right.
about television, and it's
Music.
almost
Yeah.
yeah, it's almost to level of kind of like meanness rather
Mm,
than actual criticism.
right.
And
Yeah.
so it's like I take everything that I read on there with that lens.
Hmm.
But yes, they don't like Brooklyn. They don't like how Amanda Setton doesn't do the love scenes, how she dresses a certain way. And I'm just like, okay, I take any kind of critique of her with that lens, knowing that they're just
Hmm.
mean folks on Twitter. And they're not all of them are real people. Or if they are real people, they're using Twitter as a platform to behave in ways they probably wouldn't behave in real life. And
Mm.
so, in some instances, and so yeah,
You know what?
Twitter
That
crazy.
makes sense as to like why Twitter is such a different vibe
Yeah.
than every other social media platform. I mean, I'm not on
Yeah.
Reddit or anything, but like if you're on
Yeah.
Facebook or if you're on Instagram, that's typically you.
You
Right, like
right.
that, yeah. So that's interesting. But in
Yeah.
general, not just about the show, but you are right. Like if I tweet it right now, like I like Sinners, people will be like, "Oh yeah," I might get a couple of tweets. If I'm like, "I hated Sinners," and Ryan Coogler needs to never direct again,
Oh my
it
God,
might
you get
not.
so
First of
many
all,
likes.
I'm gonna get the likes. I'm gonna get the like. I'm gonna get the engagement. I'm gonna get all of
Yeah.
that. So just in
Right.
general, you are correct. Like, oh my alarm
Yeah.
went off. But you are correct that people will engage more, or it's easier to have conversation more about things that
Right.
you dislike than things
Yes.
that you like actually are a fan of. Like you get more.
Right.
That's true, and you get more
Yeah.
passionate. You get more passionate. I mean, if I'm talking about this show, I'm talking about how much I'm mad at Drew or whatever. Like I'm less passionate about like I really loved, Carly's hair and I thought Fano's outfit was cute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, and
um,
then yeah, Carly as Laura Wright as a character as an actor also gets hit all the time.
oh
But
yeah.
because Laura Wright being who she is, she's just like, whatever. I'm gonna stay my happy self, and you just gonna have to deal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people get turned off by that. Like they can't because it's just so it's almost like that platform thrives on negative energy. And it's
Right.
like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I also think because there is negative energy, like, like I don't tweet about the show really. Like people
Right.
who would have like more like or I don't really tweet about a lot to be honest, but
Yeah.
people who have like more positive things to say about anything like tweet
Yeah.
less because just
Yes.
like the environment for everything feels so negative.
Right.
Anyway, that's not what we were supposed to be talking about. this is Saturday morning shift. You know what I mean? Like this is a little different of a
Saturday, yeah,
conversation.
a little bit different.
Let's get into the stories. Let's start with Sonny's surgery and this brick scene that I saw all over social media. I saw Stephen A. Smith like talking about it on his like ESPN show. I cracked up.
Yes. They were
So
cracking up because, well, first of all, his performance was just like, well, I don't know if he was going for a caricature of somebody who's
I
supposed to be
loved it.
smooth and cool. It was so funny. It was just like,
It was so absurd
it was
that
hilarious.
I loved it. People were like talking about it, and I was like, no, I love this. Like, this is ridiculous in all the best ways.
Right.
So we have this nurse about to put something in Sunny's IV. Britt comes in and is like, I need to see ID from you. And she's like, yes. She like reaches and she reaches for a gun. And Britt sees she has a gun. And he has a long gun with a silencer and just like shoots her from the side. It
Fine.
was nuts. And then he calls me like, I have a body for you. Like it was,
It reminded me almost of Pulp Fiction, kind of
yeah.
like Samuel L. Jackson's character. Like he would
That's
be
probably what
like
he was
that.
going for.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. The fact I wonder if while shooting those scenes, if Maurice Bernard kept his humor, because I would bust
hmm
out laughing if I was lying in that hospital bed.
I would have cracked up.
It was
So,
funny.
but like some of the stuff that happened afterwards, like really confused me. I don't know if it confused you.
Uh-huh.
So Brennan shows up. Nobody finds it weird that he was like in the area. Like what? And then
Like
he like kind of takes over security. Um, until Jason gets there. I mean, I know he has this relationship with Carly, but I'm not really clear as to why the WSB from Port Charles would be on the West Coast, like taking care of a mobster. I'm not really clear. Um,
I'm not clear why Brick called WSB instead of just calling Jason. Like
right.
I don't understand that. And I think it was Brick that had was it Brick that had the reservations about Brennan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so why is he calling him? It
hmm
was yeah, that was kind of strange.
Yeah. And then
And
we
then
have
it
Jason
was
like thanking him.
right. And then I was seeing that people, and I don't know if it was intentional because I almost thought it was, because people were putting out memes thinking that the nurse was the same woman that worked for Brittany.
I'm like, y'all can't tell white women apart. Y'all racist. I'm just kidding.
Were like, is this the same person? And I almost thought it must have been when I finally watched the shows. I tend to watch the shows at the end of the week.
hmm
And so when I finally watched it, I was like, no, that's not.
That's
But
not her. Yeah,
I was
or at least I don't think
expecting,
so.
yeah, I was expecting them almost to have it be that she went traitor against Brennan, and that's why Brennan was there. But there
hmm
was, yeah, it was us. He was coming to the rescue to help Carly and Sonny, which seems out of character even. Um,
Yeah, but we do
Sonny,
hear like part of what we do hear is that um that the person who was after Sunny is not like somebody from their mob world, it's somebody from like this international world. It kind of feels like it's pointing towards Sidwell, but they didn't even bring up Sidwell. We
yeah,
also know from last week that Natalia told Sidwell about Sunny's surgery. So just
yeah,
kind of fascinated that nobody brought him up. But it does like lead them into this conversation about getting out of the mob.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Did
so
we discuss that?
no, tell me, what do you think about this?
Yeah. So having Mike come back in Sunny's dreams and
Mm-hmm.
Sunny saying that I have to get out of the mob. What I thought was weird was Mike being like, "No, you made the right decision." Like, dude, he did not make the right decision for himself as a kid. And
No,
like, you finally have Sunny in the right frame of mind, and you're trying to be like, no, you were right. And it's like that was a little off to me. But I was glad to see, Mike back on the scene, like Sunny, Maurice Bernard and the actor really do great scenes together. And I do
Max
think it's
Gale.
Max Gale. And I do think it is an interesting thing that it sounded like they are leaning towards getting Sunny out of the mob. I don't know how they're going to do it. Usually, the way the whole mob code goes, if you leave, you die type thing. So I think it'll be something interesting for Maurice to play now to think about.
Mhm.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this has been some of my issue with GH, which is that they set up, and I understand it's a soap. Like, I'm really
Yeah,
clear, things happen, things change
right.
to fit storylines. But what is
Hmm.
frustrating to me is that they are constantly doing that. That they are
Uh-huh.
constantly just like changing things in a way that doesn't make sense or like goes against the world that has been built for us. So the world that has been built for us in GH, to your point, is that and then we know about mobbing is that like you
Yeah.
can't just leave. And if
Right.
like he leaves, he's not protected, all of that. And back in the day, like 20 years ago, and obviously we can't totally compare, but 20 years ago, there was a danger to the show. There was a danger to the mob. So you understood, like, I would understand why people would be like, I don't want Sonny on these piers because it is dangerous, because, like he brings this like horrible criminal element to town. Now Sonny is like simply a philanthropist.
Right.
Like,
For the
you know what
most
I'm
part.
saying? And anything that's kind of bad that happens only really is isolated to him. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like even Sidwell coming and blowing up the building wasn't even about Sunny. Like there
Yeah.
are other elements that are like bring in like the worst of things. So, even with Curtis, when he should be one of the people who are like, I want Sunny gone because Sunny is the reason Curtis got shot.
Right.
We're not even telling that story. We're just like, yeah, whatever. Curtis is on Laura's side. So they just never give us. I don't know if it's because they're always trying to like force us to like Sunny or force people's hand, which I think also backfires. Just tell the story.
Hmm.
Just tell what it's supposed to be or what it is, and don't focus on so much all this other stuff that ends up watering the story down. If something's so dangerous, why do we not see the rest of his family with guards? If Sonny is under attack, then so should Sonny's family be under attack. So that means we should see Rocco and Dante like with somebody that's kind of shadowing them from, or like from the distance. It means that Danny, I mean, that everybody knows Jason. Jason is not secret in this, and Danny is not protected. Donna gets
Mhm.
left at the house with Cody because there's no one else. Where's the guard that can watch Donna until the Danny comes? Like, I always bring this up, but if you remember a few years ago, the reason that Trina and Cameron became such good friends was because the mob stuff was happening, and Jocelyn and Dev at the time had to always be in the house. Like we
Right.
saw her like fall out from Sunny's decision, from the mob war, from whatever, and there was like a dangerous feel to it. And now it's just like they tell us it's dangerous sometimes, but we don't ever get to see it. So I'm open to Sonny being out of the mob. I don't know what that would mean. It obviously means that they're changing the world that we know of like how he can get out of the mob. Um, because even Max and Milo got out, but they left Port Charles. So unless this is a
Hmm.
Maurice Bernard exit story, I don't know how he gets out of the mob.
Right.
Like Maurice Bernard is leaving, and like Vanessa Marcel comes as Brenda to take him away from the mob. But then, what does that mean for like his kids? Because would Sonny leave his kid? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying I'm open to see what it is, but I just don't get it. I don't know how we would do those things.
Hmm.
But
And I mean, and even though a lot of people complain that the show was so focused on Sunny, Jason, and Carly, what would it mean for GH to not have Sunny on campus?
right, right,
So,
because they don't give
yeah,
other people, they don't
no
give other
story.
people story.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know that they have not done the work to like offload Sunny. And I'm guessing that is happening with several soaps, but I will say I think about like a Days of Our Lives.
Hmm.
The legacy kids get story.
Hmm.
Like and I don't see that as being like what we do. Every story that happens for these legacy kids kind of feeds back into their parents. They don't
Right.
have these independent stories.
But then on the other hand, what GH is doing, which I'm seeing a lot more of, is we are seeing a lot more of the vets, right? We're seeing a lot more story around Laura. We're
Mm-hmm.
seeing story around Anna and Jane Elliott with Tracy Quartermain. I think
Mm-hmm.
if they do start focusing more on them, I think the show could still be thriving and viable. And
Mm-hmm.
then, Carly having story outside of the mob might be something that works as well. Um, with Ryan, not Ryan, Drew kind of being another villain on the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it doesn't seem like they're really trying to kill him off. Like
Right.
they're showing like he's a bad figure, but bad stuff is happening to him as well because of other people, which we'll talk about more when we get into the whole Willow Drew storyline. And so I think there is a possibility. Like I could see GH going on without Maurice Bernard for a minute, but they would have to consistently keep it up more. And like you said, like
Mm-hmm.
you said, give story to the children of the vets too, not just the vets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think that the other thing is like if you think about what's happening with the Quartermains, with
Uh-huh.
how they use Tracy is like better than how they use like a Sunny. So Tracy is
Right.
part of a story, but Tracy is like Brook Lynn's support. Like actually, Tracy is kind of like all over the place, and like she does some things you don't agree with, and then she comes in as a support to Brook Lynn, and it's so emotional and so
Yeah.
grounding. You remember why Tracy is there and why she's so important, not just like mischievous. And it
Yeah.
like really cements her matriarch status in a way that they don't do with like Sunny, Jason, and Carly with the people with the like
Yeah.
younger folks around them. So I do think that they know how to do it, They just don't know how to have Carly, Jason, and Sonny like seed story to like their younger cast.
Yeah.
So we also have this like Christina, Molly, Alexis like confrontation. Again, I said this last week. I don't understand why Molly didn't go straight to Alexis without Christina. And now
Right.
we have Christina not being able to put two and two together about like maybe Alexis knows about this car
Yeah.
accident.
That's crazy to me because she's supposed to be so guilt-ridden about what she did. I would think every single interaction I have with the rest of the world will link back to what I did, even though it might not be actual case. Like it's like when you're holding a secret like that, it's like paranoia. You think everybody knows or everyone is hip to what's happening in your brain, even though not everyone is, but it just seems like that. And so for Christina to not immediately think, oh, somebody, she knows something, it's crazy. But yeah, I didn't actually, I felt like it was a, even though Molly found the papers, I still feel like it was almost a delaying tactic that sometimes happens where you get close to the big reveal, but it's not quite the big reveal because nothing happens after it. So I think, um, yeah, Molly not going to Alexis first, was almost like intentional because then Alexis would have to give a reason to why, and Alexis can't. So
Right.
she's gonna go to Christina to heighten the drama and be like, Mom, why are you doing this? Mom, instead of forcing people to look at, well, why did Alexis do this? They're just focusing on the
Yeah.
evilness of it all. Like they're
Yeah,
like
but
they're just like the fact that you even thought to do it is what's wrong,
right.
Mom. No, it's not like that's not what's wrong. It's a why did she have the thought to do it? And and they don't focus on that.
They don't have her ask. It's not very
Right.
clear, like, what is different. Like, that's a real thing. You
Yeah.
were thinking about committing me. Now, they are going over the top because she didn't do it and, like, it wasn't like she
Right.
tried. Like, it's just like a very whatever. But that's the question I would need answered. What was I
Yeah.
doing that made you so concerned? That was not
Right.
answered by Alexis. And that's the question. And I get that for the plot, Molly went the way she went. But the reality is like this is what happens with GH so much that they
Yeah.
never really think about building characters. It's all about building plot. Even
Right.
with you think about Molly, when was the last time we heard Molly talk about TJ? TJ had been a part of Molly's life forever. We do not
Yeah.
hear her, and I think I said this last week, and I'll say it again. We don't even hear Molly worried she's going to run into TJ at the hospital. We don't hear anything about TJ, and that's actually very vital to Molly's character. So, like, they don't care about building Molly's character as long as they can like disappear this black man who's on contract. By the way,
Yeah.
because that's like the difference between them disappearing TJ and disappearing Taggart. Neither one of them
Yeah.
was right, but Taggart was not a contract player.
Right.
TJ,
TJ
like the actor who
was.
played TJ was. And
Yeah.
so he's just gone and nobody's talking about him. And so it's a bizarre thing. So anyway, we do have this scene with Christina and Molly by Irene's gravesite, and they kind of like re-establish their like sisterhood and their bond, and they only got each other. I guess. I mean, we know that this is like building it up to like break it down, but
Hmm.
I just feel like the show has been so unsatisfying in the way they like do these reveals, like the emotional fallout. I and I don't really care about these two so much, but I do hope that we end up with a good like fallout that's not about just like Lucky and Elizabeth.
Yeah. And I'm still mad that Lucky hasn't said anything to Elizabeth. I hope that's the very next scene. I don't know, but sir, I need you to tell right away. So yeah. I didn't like that scene at the gravesite was just so like a nothing for me that I don't even really have comments about it because it was just like it just kind of it's extending the wait for us to get to the big reveal. Um, and yeah, so until Christina actually feels consequences, this is none of this means anything to me. And they're gonna still continue to enable her just to be wild. Even in when she says, I realize that I need to make amends, she's not getting any consequences for her behavior. So it's gonna be a matter of time where she does something crazy again and gets away with it until she actually faces the consequences.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the coddling of Christina has been so frustrating to watch. And then
Hmm.
like and her behavior is so sociopathic. Like the fact that she knows what she did and then she's like still in Molly's face, like she hasn't even slowed down enough to like realize what she's done to Lucky or care that she put Lucky in a position where he had to lie to Elizabeth. I mean, he didn't have
Right,
to, but he lied to Elizabeth. She doesn't care that she doesn't care about the position she's put anyone in, and she's so selfish. She hasn't even stopped for a second to like realize that like, oh wait, my mom might know. Like that's the
right.
self-centeredness of her as a character that's just like very frustrating to watch. And it's not appealing.
Yeah.
I
So,
also wonder if it's because she's also too old for this. So if this was like something that happened like 10, 15 years ago as Christina, it is what it is.
yeah,
But in 2025 as Christina, you're too old for this like level of immaturity. Like, I know I was one of the few, and most people don't feel this way, and that's okay. When I was saying that, I was annoyed by the way Rick and Ava treated her. I was like, well, like they're taunting her, right?
hmm,
Like, just like there's custody stuff. You don't even need to go to Christina with custody stuff. Go to
right,
Sonny. But you
right.
know that, you are needling her, and it's because you're like, Rick, you're like mad at how she did Molly. Well, Rick, you're a grown
Yeah,
man, so the way that you like handle that is not by needling your daughter's sister. The same thing with like Ava, like you're mad at whatever, but Ava, you put Christina in this position, and I'm not giving. I want to be really clear. I'm not shooting Christina any bail. I think she's terrible, but when you push terrible, spoiled people the way Ava and Rick do, or they
hmm,
did, I feel less sympathy for the fallout to Ava and Rick for
yeah.
that. Um, but and still, when Ava was like, "You can't take Avery to the ballet," you too
That
grown to
was
be having a
petty.
fit about that. That was petty, but you too
Yeah,
grown to be having a fit about that. Okay, I can't take her.
yeah.
Look, what are we
Like,
doing?
no, it was my special thing. Yeah.
As if you don't have other sisters. As if like it's just I don't know. Let's move on. I have nothing positive to say. um, Tracy versus Sonny, and then bringing in Geo. So
Ooh,
Tracy told Geo like, she's working to like take the peers away from Sunny. Geo was like really upset. He was like, I don't understand why. And Jason kind of comes in and tells Geo about Sunny killing
AJ.
AJ.
Yeah.
The retelling of that is really fascinating because even when he brought up Ava,
Hmm.
Gio was like, Trina's boss?
The
How did
perspective.
yeah, how did you feel about that?
It goes to the perspective of speaking to a younger generation about
Mm-hmm.
anything. They're like, "What? That's that person?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know. Um, so a lot of people were going off on that platform about how Jason was kind of lying. They're like, Sunny didn't do it to save Ava's life, but then that's the reason that I guess and I don't remember what Sonny actually told Jason about it because he was out of town. But
No, Jason was
that's
wasn't Jason like presumed dead?
yeah, oh yes,
Because it
that's what
was
I meant. Like he wasn't
yeah,
on the canvas. That's what
yeah, yeah.
but so he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's what Jason believes happens. And people were
Mm-hmm.
going off like Jason was lying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But we know from a different perspective what happened. Um, so it is interesting that I like the angle that Jason did go by, right? He said, instead of listening to everybody else, go with how you relate to Sunny
Mm-hmm.
and let that lead you in your decision. And so that's the mystique of Sunny is that Sunny develops relationships with people. So in order to and then he gains sympathy in that way. Versus
Mm-hmm.
and they'll look past whatever wrong thing he does because they have a relationship with him and they see him differently and they excuse it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's like weird because I can feel sympathy on both sides of the coin. Yeah, like what happened to AJ was messed up. They stole his kid and he's just and they, all this, but at the same time, AJ was an asshole too. And so they're
Mm-hmm.
almost justified in taking the kid. But and then Tracy on the outside watching it all, like Sonny has done a lot of harm to my family and he
Right.
needs to be gone. And so it's almost like I could see all sides of the situation. And but liking all the characters, I don't know whose side to take on me personally. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I've developed as an audience person, I've developed a relationship with Sonny too, where I feel
Right.
real empathy for him. I know all the things that he struggles through and all the reasons why he got into the mob and all of the things. And so I feel sympathy for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an odd situation to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watching this show.
Yeah, I think they also used to do a better job for me of writing
Uh-huh.
Sonny as this like anti-hero. And they
Right.
don't they just try to hero him out now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um I agree. I like Jason for this fact, and I think that's always been Jason's appeal of being like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you what to do. And when he does
Right.
finally like step in and try to tell someone what to do, you know it's serious, right? So
Yeah.
when he was like trying to tell Carly about Brennan, like that was serious because for the most part
Yeah.
he's just like, well, whatever, like
They're gonna
make
do
your
what they're gonna
own
do.
mind, right?
Yeah.
Make your own mind
Right.
up. So with Brennan, or not Brennan, I'm sorry, with Geo, I found that to be compelling because Geo is a person who has known Sunny in a certain capacity his whole life.
Right.
Like Sunny has been, fairy godfather for him his whole life. Um, I like Sunny did kill AJ because he thought that he was going after Ava, but he
Mm-hmm.
also was mad because he thought AJ had killed
Killed.
Connie.
Yeah, Connie. Yeah.
So it was, like a little bit of a mess, and it was like on Sunny and Ava, and it was all messy. I don't know exactly what Jason did know, and the difference between what you know and what you, to your point, give
Right.
to the next generation or the generation after you is going to be different. We even now in our grown age will find out some family secret and we'll be like, oh, that's not how I remembered her. That's not how it was told to me.
Right.
And so I think that's the same thing that's happening with Gia.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Tracy is taking this other side of trying to shut things down with Sunny. And so she goes and puts her hat in with Drew.
That was crazy.
And yeah, but
Because
also somehow Drew's gonna get his last name back with this, the Quartermain name.
that's the crazy part to me, not the fact
Hmm.
that Tracy is going to work with him, but that she's actually willing to bargain her name for it.
Right.
That was crazy because they just went through this huge battle and it was simply over the name
Hmm.
and she got what she wanted. She kept Drew from having the name and now she's willing to just give it back. It's
Makes
just
no
like
sense to
really
me.
weird to me. Yeah. Um, So that was crazy. But it was
It
it
makes
was a
no
comical
sense to
scene.
me. Yeah, it
But it
was.
was a
It
fun
was.
scene.
It definitely was. It made no sense to me though that Tracy
Right.
would just give, and this is like the thing with the show, like why do we sit through all of this to go over this name stuff and then to have it like just resolve the other way so easily. So while Drew is there, I don't even know if this is in the order that we talked about. So while Drew is there, he gets drugged by um, the sex worker. I forget her name. They told her several times, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forget her name. Um, he get with ketamine, which I was like,
Right.
what? So here's okay. So here's the thing that was interesting to me. Drew took this drink and then instantly was flirting with this woman. Like instantly was like, "Oh, what's up with you?" You know what I mean? Like it was just
Hmm.
like very, very quick.
Right.
And then after that, he like takes her to this other bar. He does body shots. um, I don't think that's what ketamine does.
Well, here's the thing. I am someone, and I'm just going to talk about me personally. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't get me all in trouble. I am
Mm-mm.
someone who's a lightweight, right?
Sure.
Very much a lightweight. So when I drink alcohol or take something, it hits me immediately, even though it really shouldn't. For me, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost just like the anticipation of me acting crazy is what gets me to act crazy,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird. And so it didn't really, but you're right. Ketamine shouldn't get through the system and affect you so quickly. But for me, it was almost a familiar thing because it just affects me so fast. It's really
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Um, so yeah, but it was also not only the ketamine, he also was drinking straight whiskey or an old
But
fashioned. He was drinking an old
he only
fashioned,
had one drink though.
but that's straight liquor.
He was a grown man. The one liquor. Okay, so listen, I'm gonna read to you the fact sheet from the DEA of ketamine. I mean, we probably won't have a DEA soon, thanks to Elon, but um,
Right.
it is a club drug. Um, it affects the mind. It makes you mellow. It produces hallucination. It distorts perceptions of sight and sound. It makes the user feel disconnected and not in control.
Mhm.
It says the on-site set of effects is rapid and it often does occur in minutes, so that kind of I guess makes sense. Um, and so okay, let's get over to this. Is sorry for the science of this, y'all. A couple minutes after taking the drug, the user may experience the increase of heart rate and blood pressure that gradually decreases. It does
Mhm.
like pupil movement. It does all of these things. I read this to say it does not make you a whore that goes to the club if that's not
Well,
who
no.
you are. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well,
that's the thing about the
yeah,
drug.
and it heightens your personality, I guess. But at the same time, he was drinking and but it's almost as if he forgot that he was with somebody.
Nah,
It doesn't
because
make you
even before
does
that,
it make you forgive does it make you forgetful? No. It,
it does say that you can forget what happened when you were under the influence.
yeah, but you don't forget that you're married
Right. Yes, that's true.
or in a relationship. You just
Mm-hmm.
forget what happened immediately that night.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't like totally like when Willow walked in on him, he wasn't like, "Who are you?" He
Mm-hmm.
knew who Willow was. And so it's like, I don't know, alcohol does weird things, and we don't know all the effects that it has because we keep making up some effects.
Well, I mean,
Drug,
I think the effect was
alcohol and
supposed to be
drugs.
the effect was supposed to be the ketamine, not the
Yeah,
alcohol. And so the point
yeah.
is, it shouldn't have had him moving from place to place in that same way because he was like,
Well,
let's go from this place to this other place where people are having a party. Like that just
What?
didn't that
Yeah.
sequencing is not a
They're
side effect of
all
that drug.
no, yeah, it's not a side effect of the drug, but I'm thinking the drug interactions. So like mixing mixing drugs, not it does have an interaction. We don't know what the interaction between alcohol and ketamine is, do we? And
We
have
don't.
like them like ketamine by itself doesn't make you do things, but does ketamine plus alcohol make you do things? We don't
I
know.
think I think that my point is that he's like a
Yeah,
big guy who does not drink. So
right.
having one drink with this drug, I don't think would have made you feel like that, if that makes sense. That's what I'm saying. And I guess this is semantics and we're kind of beating it to death.
We're going
My
down a
point is just,
tangent.
yeah, we're going on a tangent. My point is just, I think I'm not really clear as to how they felt like that sequencing made sense to people. But let's get to the
Well,
club. Well,
probably the same way.
I think that this is one of the things that GH did very well, and they don't do it enough. But what I love is I want to see the immediate effects, and I want to see how it impacts the rest of the town. So when he goes there and acts a fool, we have Jocelyn and Lucas and Marco looking like, what is this? The
Right?
faces they were making,
Yeah.
solid gold, just meme after meme after meme. I loved it. You have Lulu there with her camera. You have everybody. You have like Portia being like, let him cook. Like,
Right.
that is what we want to see when you have the big fallout of action for me.
Yeah. Everybody was there. And then even like the next day, Fallout, you have Alexis talking about I need to take, Scout away. We
Hmm.
have busybody Amy asking all kinds of questions to Willow, which was hilarious. It was, we had the whole town reacting to it. Like they all saw it on the news. Everybody mentioned it. It was a thing. And so it wasn't just about Drew and Willow. It was about everybody in the town and the fallout. So that was good.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I loved it. Thought it was hilarious. Next day, Willow gets back, finds Drew in bed with old girl. Um, Old girl goes to Nina and to Portia to like get money. She apparently gets not enough money, but money to go to Australia and kind of disappear, get off the scene so that people can't find her. Um, I, ugh,
Can
I
we talk
was
about
so. Oh, go ahead, no, please.
I want to talk about old girl. How bad that we can't
Yes.
remember her
Okay.
name. But she
Yes.
was hilarious too. Talking about, oh, like I can't even remember all the words that she was saying, but she was hilarious when Willow came. Like she was
Yes.
like, "Good morning," and yes, you have my shoe, and don't think nothing of it. Every man needs a break or something like that. She was comedy, straight comedy.
So good.
So
She said, I have a walk on role in a dream and I'm going to make my mark. And she did.
she did. So I'm gonna actually look her up, and then if you guys, I'm gonna make a comment, put her name out there because she
Add her into one of the performers of the week.
yes, so add her. That was great. The great performance.
She was good. So Willow goes to Nina's house to cry. Drew shows up. Can I just say, I am so uncomfortable with this storyline. I've been uncomfortable for a long time. I got like beyond like the barrier of uncomfortable when he was trying to like manipulate her to not go to Germany. Then we found out he did like have this nurse lie to her. I was like, I actually can't like this is trigger like this is like abusive. And so I'm already feeling that way. So then when he shows up to Nina's house, bamming on the door, I was disgusted. I it's really tough for me to watch. I was not, it just felt so controlling, so manipulative. There's this super age gap. I like he wouldn't even I understand the like I am desperate for you to understand that I didn't do this. I get that. But the
Yeah.
like bamming on the door, the insistence, the like they should have done something different. They should have done it where he called her something that wasn't like showing up to her mom's house and refusing to leave.
And refusing to leave without her, right? Because he
Yeah,
managed to not only get in her presence and talk to her, but he managed to take her away from her mom. And Nina doesn't know this yet, and bring Willow back into his house
right.
after everything that was happened. Um, I wrote this as my hot take, but I'm gonna say it now.
Please. Yeah, please.
Um, it was interesting to me that whole conversation between Nina and Drew and Willow. And my thought was, for me, the guilt that Nina and Drew both they don't, not that they feel guilt, but that they are guilty in terms of causing Willow pain. Both of them are.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, one, they slept together. Two, Drew paid the nurse to keep Willow away.
Mm-hmm.
Nina paid the prostitute and drugged Drew. And then now, so it's almost to the point that the people who she trusts the most are the people she should be trusting the least
Yeah,
because both of them are harming her and lying to her and manipulating her.
yeah.
And the funny thing is the people who she should trust are the two men that she cheated on, Chase and Michael. And
Ooh, okay, you better hot take that
I
one.
was
I'm
like,
with that.
wow. It's like it's so like
Wow.
Willow is I don't know. I would know how I would feel once you hear everything that's gone on and she
Mm-hmm.
really actually digests not only her behavior, but her choices and her choices of who she places her trust in.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's crazy.
You ate that. Like, yeah,
Right.
you ate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else that's so real, but I
Yeah.
also did appreciate. I mean, because I never really cared for Nurse Amy, but like
Yeah.
her presence is what I have been asking for in all of these stories. The presence of somebody being nosy. Like,
Yes.
again, I hate this, like, it's a soap, it's a soap. Of course it's a soap. Crazy things are going to happen. But the point is, when it happens, people are not supposed to behave like it's normal.
Right.
People are supposed to behave like this is messy. That is the
Yeah.
beauty of it. And so you have Amy being like, "Oh my God, are you gonna take you back?" I mean, I guess like it is embarrassing because you blew up your marriage for him. This is what people should be talking about.
That's what
This is
people
how people should
do.
gossip. That's a very
Yes.
real part of these stories.
Right. And I loved how Carly the next day was like, girl, this is you, right?
That's you, right? I also love how Carly was mad at Nina for not for giving him a drug that would still be in his system. We see that
Right.
because he had the drug test, and now he's like reported to Mac as a crime, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Um, she was, and Carly was also real. Like, Nina, like she's gonna go back to him. You did not think this story out, like this thing out.
Right.
You did not, and we didn't even get Nina telling Carly that Michael didn't want to see Willow.
That's the another thing. That's what I was just like, nobody is really thinking about what happened when Willow went to see Michael. No one's even asking that and really thinking about like if she had told Carly, Carly would have been like, no, Michael wouldn't do that. I'm gonna
Hmm.
call Michael right now and find out what happened. Then they could
Hmm.
all be hip to what Drew did.
Right. So it's just like they're holding back these things. This is another thing. So we did this whole
Right,
plan. We put this whole thing in motion for immediately Willow to get
right.
caught right back up in Drew's web. It wasn't a
Hmm.
week. It wasn't a couple of days. It was immediately she was back with
Immediately.
him. And
Yeah. And I bet
she's
she's not gonna tell Jason until it's too late.
Yeah.
she's like, Jason, thanks a lot for having me fly out up there, and Michael didn't even want to see me. Now she's
Mm-hmm.
caught up in this mess. Jason is caught up in some other mess. No one's gonna
Mm-hmm.
put two and two together until it's like too late.
And they're doing this, and like people, we as viewers, everybody should be like kind of side eyeing Portia and Nina for drugging Drew, and no
Oh
one
yeah,
is. No
right.
one is. It's the equivalent of Sasha being pregnant with Michael's baby. People are like, I don't care because y'all are so foul. I don't care if this foul thing is happening to you.
Right,
And whatever fallout does not feel like it's going to be, um, to me, enough, given how disgusting you've made this man.
right.
So I'm looking forward to Fallout, but I'm also not looking forward to it. It's the same thing I felt about with like Nina, the Nina Michael or not Nina Mike Sonny situation. I'm like, oh, this is really foul. Like, who cares? This is not the Fallout we wanted.
It's gonna be like I said, like we all want Drew to be killed off today, but it's not going to happen. They are going to extend his character being on the canvas for a while. And he's
Mm-hmm.
almost like this year's Peter
Oh my God.
because like people hated Peter for a while, but he stayed on that canvas for a long time and almost wore
Mm-hmm.
out. I think he did. He wore out his welcome. But right now, because they're having things happen to Drew that seem unfair, he's going to have more longevity because once people find out what Portia and Nina did, they're gonna be like, Nina, you guys are so wrong, and Portia
Mm-hmm.
and this other stuff, and they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
forget. There's a reason why they did this. Drew is a horrible person. We should all work together to get rid of this.
But even with Portia, I'm just like, this is so over the
Right.
top for something that's so crazy. Girl,
It's so simple.
just tell Curtis.
Tell your husband.
Because that's Drew's like thread that he's gonna
Right.
go to Curtis.
Curtis.
The only thing that Curtis doesn't know is that you were being blackmailed by Brad. That's it. He knew everything else. So this secret has very little legs.
Right. And
And
it's
now
gonna have
you've
so
like
many consequences
now
for
you've
something.
used your position as a doctor to drug someone. What is
So
going on, girl?
if you think just manipulating test results is gonna make you lose your job, this is it. This is really what's gonna make you lose your job. And that's crazy.
And
Over
deserved. And you know I love
it.
Portia.
Right.
Uh, so Drew didn't show up for Kai's like surgery slash documentary. We do have Kai finally calling, not finally, but Kai calling Trina his girlfriend. We also have like Emma and Jocelyn like showing up to support Trina without Gio. I was like, I didn't think Emma and Trina were that close.
Girl, the way and then I guess they had Emma and Jocelyn had some sort of kumbaya because they go to the party and Emma was like, Jocelyn, and they're hugging and stuff.
Hmm.
I was like, I didn't know that y'all were that friends like that. But let's go back to the whole Ty thing. Everything that has happened still makes me feel like they're gonna kill Kai off. The fact that he was like, "Can I call you my girlfriend?" and no one's there, and he's like, you can still change your mind about this surgery and all of it. I feel like he's gonna end up dying or something really horrible happening after this surgery because they're just
Trina, Trina's third boyfriend dying would be insane. Like
it would be
that's
insane.
maxi status, and it's an even
Yeah.
shorter time frame.
Oh, that's be bad. But man, like these are all it's almost like, if he gives her a promise ring and just remember that I love you forever. And then he's just like, oh, guess he's gonna die. Anyway, it
Yeah,
just all feels like something's tragic's gonna happen. Like this surgery is not gonna be 100% success. That's what it feels like to me. Otherwise, I really don't care.
I have a very important question. Hi, where your mama and them at? You got whole camera crews in your hospital room. Where your mama and them? Let's talk
Mhm.
about some cultural competency behind the scenes.
Okay.
Ain't no way no black mama finna let her son go into spinal surgery and she ain't there front and center. First of all, you're not even going to the spinal surgery. You can walk.
Right.
What we doing?
They would have put the kibosh on the whole decision in the first place.
Would have talked to Portia and been like, "Excuse me, what you think about this?" Portia's like, "I have reservations. Oh, we're done here.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
You better go be a pee
And they
wee
would be like,
coach.
I'm like, who is this white man giving you money?
Who is this strange white man giving you money? What? Let's have some cultural competency. Where are the black people at in the writers' room? I know y'all was firing people. You need to bring somebody back because this is crazy. This is my
Yes.
culture. This is my culture, and it's not being represented.
Why are you lying on my culture like that?
Absolutely not. Okay.
Right.
Um,
And where,
but
look, you know what? Stella would have been all up in this. She's
I
not
still
part of
would have
this
been like, "Where
decision.
your mama and them at?"
Right. I don't know. I don't think you should trust Drew.
And we established that Arcella has a relationship with Kai.
Yeah, she should have been there for the surgery. Even if she didn't agree with it, she would have been there, tut-tutting, talking bad and smack the whole way through, and then be like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you made it, baby. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what mamas do.
Right.
Uh-uh.
I did think it was a sweet touch to have Laura come be in the waiting room with Trina.
Yeah, that was
Um,
sweet.
just I like Jeannie Francis, like her sweetness with Tatiana, just like as actors, and just like the history between them of like they didn't even have to mention Spencer's name. It's just understood that you were important to him, and therefore you are important to me.
Yeah,
And as you move on with your life, like literally move on with your life, I'm gonna still be there for you. So we didn't get in the kind of aftermath of Spencer's death a lot of scenes with the two of them because it was just the way they like kind of tried to move on from Spencer's death was what the show was what it was. But I thought that scene between Jeannie and Taviana was very sweet, and I loved Laura being there for Trina.
yeah.
Um, Jocelyn and the spy who stole my homework. So we do have back in the Savoy night this Professor Dalton kind of like flirting with Anna, and Anna
Hmm.
putting together that he's from the Bay Area and being like,
Hmm.
"Oh, and you're Emma's professor? Okay, okay, okay." Um, we have Jocelyn talking to Dalton about the class and catching up, and he was just like, "Yeah, you're probably not gonna be in this."
He straight
Try something
said,
else.
"Yeah, I'm not gonna do this for
I
you."
won't be picking you. Um, And then we have Emma um, doing like being this is a class that she's very good at. She puts a lot of time and effort into it. She finishes extra credit assignment, and then um, is going to go party. And Jocelyn realizes in order to sabotage Emma for this work, she has to. Now, I first thought that Jocelyn was going to just
Thumb
steal
drive.
the flash drive and then turn it in herself, like as it was her assignment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she was just trying to corrupt Emma's assignment. And they go to the beach. She calls in Vaughn to help her do it. I can't believe this is Jocelyn's spy assignment, still in homework. I also can't believe, just like if you're at a big school and you're an athlete, like somebody will do your homework for you sometimes, or at least
Right.
tutor
Yes.
you.
Why can't you do that?
How is Jocelyn a spy and she don't have somebody just doing her homework? Why she got to try to keep up with the class? Somebody else should just be keeping up with it for her. No,
And
am
why
I
can't
am I
the
tripping?
spy? And why can't the Spy Academy have somebody on tap to do it for her? Like, where's the team? Why she got to do
Right,
everything?
right.
I did crack up at Emma calling um what's his name? You remember his name because he was part of some movie.
Vaughn.
Vaughn. Calling Vaughn Aquaman classic. Yeah.
Mm,
But
Um,
it was
that
cute. The way that Emma looked at him though as he was walking up, I was like, "Oh, Gio got some competition," but not really. Gio, she's still thinking about Gio and wanting Gio to join and swim, and they're all had their cute little moment. Let's do it.
yeah.
Okay.
I surprisingly like Emma and Gio.
Yeah.
They have a cute dynamic. I didn't expect to like them. I do. I like them. But yeah, I was like, I cannot believe the Jocelyn Spy assignment is homework.
Yeah. And I
And
can't
this,
believe that WSB would invest in her doing these kind of teenage shenanigans. Like that's it. Yeah. We have someone we are interested in, and we're gonna put in a teenage, or not even a teenage, but just a young, inexperienced person to actually find out what's going on with him. When they have way more sophisticated means of dealing with this guy, but they're choosing to let Jocelyn do it.
yeah, I don't know. But at the same time, we have Rocco and Danny. Um, First, they were supposed to go to some like game with Dante and Lulu. They ended up falling through, even though like Danny was trying to convince Rocco to not to like go to a party. He's like, no, this is a baseball game. Baseball game falls through. They go to this party. Let me just say, my Jason baby swagged out.
Right? He is a cool one. You know, he could like one, he can handle his liquor. Two, he can mentor somebody. He was like, "Don't
Hmm.
drink, just hold the cup." You know, be
Right.
cool.
Be
He can pick
cool.
up girls. He can pick up girls. He can interact with the guy. He can hang
Hmm.
at a party. He is
And,
cool.
yeah. And Rocco, my poor Rocco. It reminded me, I was like, why is he so? I was like, oh, he drank his drink and
And he's
then
drinking
he drank Danny's drink
Danny's
because Danny
drink.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go deal with these girls. I loved him running into Jocelyn.
Charles was like, neither of us were here.
And he was like, got it, say less. But this is also such a fact because if you think about when they had like Jocelyn, Cameron, Trina, all of them be like teenagers, when they
Mhm.
were in college, I specifically remember Trina being like, we're gonna go into our room and watch Jungle Cruise. Meanwhile, we got Danny at the party with the girls and the drinking and the I'm like, all right, I guess we're growing them up, even though y'all have the young adults are so still youngified, if you will, that they're at the
Right.
same party that Rocco and Danny are
Right.
at. Okay. But we do have Rocco kind of passed out, and I'm sure that we will um, see the ramifications of what that looks like next week.
Yeah. But I thought
We
it was an entertaining scene.
same.
Yeah.
Same, same. We have two more things to talk about. So more people are finding out about I'm sorry, about Brook Lynn's adoption story. We have Brook Lynn telling Tracy. We talked a little bit about that because we really felt that was like one of the best scenes of the week and really great performances. Um, at the same time, we then have like Lucy, Lois, and Max like in the kitchen planning the nurses' ball. They have some shady things to say about Carly. I ain't like that, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
But
Carly and Bobby. Lucy visiting her rivalry with Bobby again and being like, and Carly's just like her.
like, girl, but how did you feel about? Were you surprised that Brook Lynn told Tracy? How did you feel about how that whole part of the story went down?
was surprised that she did,
Hmm.
but she's like so scared of what Lulu is going to reveal. And she's mad that Lulu's the one that knows the secret. And
Hmm.
she already hates just Lulu off strength that it didn't like, oh my God, Tracy now knows. Why would you do that, Brook Lynn? It wasn't like that for me. It was more like she told Tracy, ooh, how is Tracy going to respond? And I was
Hmm.
more interested in that dynamic. And so, and then now just seeing the previews, the little bit of previews they showed on Friday, what's going to go down. Like Tracy was 100% supportive and loving with Brook Lynn and her decisions and understanding where she's coming from and saying that she's not going to um, choose, Lulu over her. I loved all of that. It just showed, like you
Hmm.
said before, the reasons why Tracy is so key to the canvas is
Hmm.
because yeah, she's crazy and she's, you know, uh like a catalyst for drama, but she's also this really amazing and supportive family member,
Right.
mother, grandmother, all of that. And
Hmm.
when it comes down to it, she has your back like no other. And so that was amazing. And just the power of Jane Elliott as an actress. She had me in
Hmm.
all the feels.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I was like, it was great. And they're
Yeah.
great scene partners. And so, yeah, I actually, because of all of that, because Brook Lynn has such strong relationships with the women in her life, is the reason why I kind of like her as a character, even though sometimes she can be annoying. I still like her because she shows her heart in so many different ways. And I think,
That's all Amanda too,
that's
as
all
an
Amanda.
actress. Hmm.
And so I loved it. And I'm glad that she has Tracy in her corner now because she kind of, I know even though as many people that knows this secret now, Brooklyn still feels kind of alone in this. And
Hmm.
so to see that she has support um, against, someone as strong-willed as Lulu is great. Because in this instance, I don't want Lulu to win on this. I want
Hmm.
her to really be wrong in holding the secret and wanting to tell everybody.
Right.
And I don't want her to feel that anyone is on her side because she's on the wrong side of this. And
Hmm.
we'll talk about this more when we talk about hopefully the scene between her and her mom. But Lulu isn't right. And so I'm glad that Brook Lynn has people on her side and agreeing with her and fighting for her.
Right. Right. Me too. Um, I I I don't have anything to add to what you said. I completely agree with all of that. I think
Yeah.
my only addition was like I think that the part at the end with Lois when she said, "Where's my great grandson?" That was
Hmm.
the piece I was waiting for. So I was really
Yeah.
happy that she had this scene with Brooklyn where she was so supportive and loving, and didn't say, "Oh, I want this other quarterback," because like we know Tracy don't want some quarterback out here that she don't know about where they at.
Right.
Like this is her family.
Yes.
But it was like she had this patience. She reassured and reaffirmed Brooklyn, and then she went to Lois and was like, "So where my grandbaby at?" And I was like, "That's exactly like
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote that, but that's good writing to me. Like
Yes.
that is Tracy. Give us both."
I was
Yeah,
surprised that she didn't ask who the dad was.
yeah, me too, me too, me too. Um, so, but I thought it was really, really good. I really loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was really great. So let's then move to kind of like this last like Lulu thing. Oh, look, my thumbs up happened. It was so weird. Um, so we have Lulu is writing this adoption story for the paper, which I was like, why did the paper even want this story? um, and she's talking to all these different like people about adoption. She goes and talks to Laura about it, And Laura gives her like this backstory about her own life, which I thought was really great and beautifully acted by Jeannie. And
Yes.
then, like, as a real mom, she knew she was like, "You're not telling me the whole truth. Let me stop this recorder."
Right.
Um, and talk to her about why this was so important. And I felt like it's so interesting to see all the characters on screen. And I don't know if maybe that's like the backlash that the story is getting. But for the most part, the characters are on screen are like, look, this ain't your business. It's not your place to tell. And to see like people online be like, Chase should tell Dante, like Chase should tell Dante over his wife, like you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Um, so it's like kind of fascinating to see like that everybody on screen is like, this was her choice,
Hmm.
and you could be disrupting so much if you do this.
I actually was also thinking that people are also telling her that they have no regrets finding out who their parent was or
Mm-hmm.
getting to know who the, because first it was she interviewed Lucas and Lucas was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, my father is, was a gangster, he was a criminal, and I loved my adoptive parents. They loved me. It was awesome. But he was like, at the end of the day, I don't regret knowing my dad.
Right.
And so then she talks to Laura, and Laura tells her story was like, I didn't know this person. And when I found out, I ran away and all this. But at the end of the day, I loved knowing my mom. So
Mm-hmm.
I can hear in Lulu's mind, everyone's confirming for her that
Yeah.
the truth should come out. But at the same time, everyone's saying it's not your place to be the
Mm-hmm.
one to say it. And so
You cooking
I
today,
can,
Tanya?
but I was just like, at the same time, I'm hearing Lulu in her head being like, I'm doing the right thing having this story.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
Dante should know, and he should know his son, and the children don't regret it. So why can't I be the one to say this?
Right.
Um, but for me, I thought listening to Laura's story was so fascinating and interesting to me because I wasn't watching General Hospital at the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how Laura's story was playing out. So it was really interesting to hear how she found out that Leslie was her mom. And so I thought it was great acting. And that's why I chose her because hearing her backstory and being the mom in that instance was great scenes for Jeannie Francis. So I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciated those a lot.
And though not necessarily adoption, also the bringing up of Nicholas and like how he came into their
Yes.
family.
Oh, yeah. And that
Mm-hmm.
choice too at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Laura's
Yeah.
been through a lot.
Mm-hmm. Um, and so we have this Lante scene.
Mhm.
Um, Let me start by saying that I know I can never be neutral on this because I'm still really salty about Sam.
Right.
And I've also never been a Lante fan, but I particularly am like very salty because this is where like the drama of having Sam still there is what will make this make sense.
Yes.
Dante still being in love with Sam's ghost while also loving Lulu. I like the drama's not dramaing for me. Um, but yeah, I mean, to like see them together, to see that scene, I am not a Latte fan. I'm not going to be a Latte fan. I was frustrated as a Sam fan of Lulu kind of almost being like she was jealous of Sam. Sam is dead. Sam's babies are without a mom. And Aaron, who friend of the show, love Aaron, who runs a Sante account, even when everything was happening with Drew, she always brings it back to be like, nobody thought about Scout in this. Scout has lost her mother, and then now her father is just like laughing stock, and neither Portia nor Nina took a beat to even like talk about her.
Hmm.
Like it was all about Willow. It was never a beat to talk about what this would mean for Scout. Scout is not a baby. This, like, all of these kids are online. Her dad is a public figure. She's gonna see this. The only person who thought about her was Alexis.
You know what?
And the
GH doesn't really consider how the kids, young kids, are affected by anything.
hmm
The only time they've really done that was with Michael.
right. hmm
Little Michael was a character
Yes.
like everybody. Little Michael was a character like everybody else on the show.
Right.
He responded to things. He had things happen to him, and he had point of view that was
hmm
shown on the show. But they
hmm
haven't really done any other child like that. And I think like and Robin and Emma was like the other children they've done that for. And
And
Michael, but
Spencer.
everybody, yeah, and Spencer, but everybody else, it's just like Scout, she doesn't get to have a point of view in this,
hmm
which is sad. And Donna, as cute as she is, she doesn't really get a point of view either.
No.
So yeah, these kids, this generation of kids are going to be full of trauma because their parents are wilding and all of them.
Even Avery doesn't really
Avery,
like
right? Like she
they
doesn't
write
get a point of view.
Avery as like very like not being really clear that her parents hate each other or not. You know what I mean? Like that's the way they write
Right.
Avery. No, you're definitely right. But yeah, I just for me knowing, I mean, Lulu did like you posted the story about Drew and didn't think about Sam's kid. You know what I mean? Even in the
Yeah.
conversation with Dante, like we keep remembering that Dante is close to Danny. They do not talk about Dante's relationship to Scout, even though he very much has one and had
Right.
and has one.
Yeah.
So this conversation, even with Lulu and Dante not considering that, was just like I don't know. So anyway, we have Dante tell Lulu, you should leave Brooklyn alone. And then you have Lulu being like jealous of Brooklyn, like why does she matter more than me? We also see her like struggling with not telling Dante about the baby, or the now grown up. That's his son. And then we have them both like affirming that they love each other, but Dante saying that he still loved Sam. Yeah, I mean, just transparently, I'm not a fan of it. I don't know. I hated every minute
um,
of it, but that's just me. I'm never gonna like it, and it's very clear that the show is going towards reunion.
yeah, that's very clear. I do feel that Dominic and Alexa have great chemistry and they do very well in their scenes together, even if you don't agree with it. I was surprised. This is what surprised me that Dante told Lulu that he knew that she was in love with him. I was not expecting that to happen. So and so quickly, I
Yeah, I
guess.
wasn't expecting that
Um,
either.
yeah, so that was a surprise to me. But I like their scenes.
I'm
Um,
not.
I'm sorry.
No, you don't
But
have to
yeah,
apologize. You should like what you like. I
yeah,
just don't.
I know. Um, I think they're and I like seeing, Dominic on my screen at any point. So I liked it. I also like the scenes when he was lecturing Rocco and Danny. Like, you guys know better. You get nothing. You need to go back there and clean out.
Not Yuri snitching because they left a mess.
No, I thought it was for some reason I felt like Yuri was in on the plot to get them to go to the party. Because I was just like, why is he just and telling
hmm
over but yeah. Um so I like seeing Dante. Hi Dante.
And then we also part of this was like I forgot to mention that we had Brook Lynn tell Maxie that she needed to choose between her and
Yeah.
Lulu, and I
I
was
don't
like,
agree with that. That's
no, I
very
don't, and
unreasonable.
I feel like they also did that so that we would have a situation uh where Brooklyn was in the wrong.
I guess. because
Because
yeah,
I don't
that just seemed
necessarily feel
out of
like she's in the
pocket.
wrong for anything else, but
Right. How
yeah, she
you
was definitely
you
in the
could
wrong
just
for that.
giving Maxie an ultimatum. Like, girl.
Particularly, it would have, even if Maxie had every piece of information, it would be wrong to give her an ultimatum. But
Uh-huh.
particularly now, like, I don't even know why you so mad. So why would I pick you
Right.
over my best friend? I'm not even
If
sure why you're mad at
anything,
her.
if anything, she could have said, if we are such great friends, if I'm your best friend, can you just, I was expecting Brooklyn to say, can you get Lulu to back off? Not like
Hmm.
make a choice. It's
It was
either me
very
or,
immature.
yeah, it was very,
Yeah, it was
see,
very
that's the
immature.
thing is that comes into play because their rivalry makes certain actions be very immature and petty between the both of them. Like
Right.
Lulu, like, I don't care what Brooklyn feels about this. Girl, you have no feelings. That's heck of petty and mean. Brooklyn, like, Maxie, you got to choose between me and her. That's petty. And sometimes she can be really mean and petty to Lulu as well. All of that comes into play with this really serious subject, which is
Hmm.
interesting. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Let's go over previews for next week and then maybe
I have
have
one
five
hot
tips.
take.
Oh, please. Yes. Sorry. Yes.
The first thing I wrote on Monday, I don't know if you can see this, but it's in all caps.
No.
Is is Donna still with Cody? Like,
Because I was mad.
I'm like, that they not only went to Alexis' house to confront her, they then went to the cemetery, and not one of them was thinking, "Oh, I wonder if Donna is okay. We should make sure."
Mm,
So Cody
trifling.
is still just chilling at the house with that little girl.
Well, he left because he was at the bar with Lulu.
Oh, that's right. He did leave. Did he explain how he ended up being there? Did he explain like, oh yeah, I had to drop Donna off somewhere? Did he do that? I need
They
to
didn't. They
rewind
didn't
that
care. They didn't
because
care.
I'm gonna be mad.
Um, no, they didn't say anything. They didn't care. I mean, the assumption is that her nanny was coming, and even if that would have been like Donna's nanny is going to be here in 10 minutes, would you sit with her? Like that's how they should
Yeah,
have. But this is like to your point that they use kids as props, and so
hmm,
like they don't care about the continuity of the story with children.
right.
Anyway,
Okay.
so
Yes,
we'll previews for
previews.
next week, and then a very short conversation about Beyond the Gates. Monday, Nina's plan goes awry. Dante is livid. Cody stumbles upon a dangerous situation. Carly counsels Lulu. Jocelyn feels guilty, probably for the stolen homework. Tuesday, Lois pleads with Dante. Huh? Does this come out?
Right? Mm,
Okay. Rocco issues an apology. Alexis is in the hot seat. Drew gets key intel. Christina opens up to Lucky. I do not want to see Christina and Lucky together. Wednesday, Christina offers an olive branch. Lulu is grateful. Brook Lynn is baffled. Gio opens up to Emma. Brennan briefs Joss and Vaughn.
Brennan does what?
Briefs Joss and Vaughn.
Oh, briefs. Okay.
Mhm. Thursday, Jason gives some tough love. Dante opens up to Sonny. Brad
Mm.
makes a life changing decision. Portia fishes for info from Willow. Curtis and Nina commiserate. Also, last week they had like this one that was like Portia walks in on Curtis and Jordan. It was literally her just walking up to the table. I was like, "What are y'all
Right.
doing here?"
Trying to cause
Not the
drama.
spoilers trying to be salacious. Friday, Sasha and Willow have a tense encounter. Lulu questions Ned for what? Okay.
Right.
Brook Lynn and Chase meet with Alexis. Tracy is surprised. Sidwell makes an offer.
Now, what is Ned's backstory? Does Ned have an adoption story? Like, was
No,
Ned
but
adopted?
um, no, but it feels like. I mean, I don't know, but it feels like something is coming out next week. Now, I don't know if it's the Geo part, but it does feel like the adoption stuff is coming out next week. And so I don't know if like Brooklyn's gonna, or not Brooklyn, but Lulu's gonna ask Ned if he knew or what.
Oh yeah, because I was just thinking, I mean, I was almost looking forward to hearing other stories because I felt like Lulu could ask a lot of people in town about adoption. But I didn't think Ned was one of those people. So we'll
Hmm.
see. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, so we'll see you next week. Let's
Yeah,
talk Beyond the Gates. Um,
man.
I'm trying to like think about what I want to say in this short time. I don't see it for Bill and Haley. Get them away. So I need there to just be a little bit more shame. I don't know. And I call that nurse and that firefighter a DEI couple. They truly could not be there, and that will be fine with me.
Exactly. Unfortunately, they are just not exciting enough to justify their existence on the
Not at
show.
all. And I, I'm supposed to believe Andre is in love with this nurse. Get out of here.
No. No. First, I want to say overall, I'm loving the show. I'm loving how like beautifully dressed everybody is. I'm
Hmm.
loving the drama
Hmm.
of it all. Um, I felt like this week, for those of you who don't watch the show, there has been a big overall kind of drama and mystery around Ted and the fact that he cheated on Nicole. And that information has come out through an
At a
anniversary
party.
party at a party. And the villain of the show is she's a mess. She goes around in wigs and thinks that everyone thinks that she's a different person in the wigs. There's been a lot of comparisons between her and Sheila Carter on The Bold and the Beautiful. Sheila Carter
Hmm.
actually has been on all the CBS shows. I wouldn't be surprised if she makes a cameo on
Ooh,
Beyond the Gates. That would be hilarious. But this villain is villaining in a good way, and she's amazing. And she's beautiful. Man, that dress that she had on was hot.
bad.
That
Okay.
was bad. The dress for Ava was bad. It was great. They looked
Hmm.
better than the Duprees, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of explosive stuff that's happening next week. I'm here for it. Um, but Friday's episode was amazing. I almost felt like Friday's episode was actually an hour long, but it wasn't, but it felt like it was an hour long to me. Um,
Yeah.
but not in a boring hour long way. It just seemed like it was longer, like there was more scenes and very intense. So I'm happy the show is on the air. It's great.
Hmm.
Can't wait to watch more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite characters are Nicole and Eva. I hope that they allow Nicole to go nuts on Ted.
Yes.
Um,
Uh-huh.
it's so funny because I talked to a couple people about the show, and so I always feel differently than people. I don't like. I'm not a fan of rich people or snobby people, so I never was a fan of Kat. So I was like,
Right.
I hate that Kat is going to be vindicated. um,
Yes.
but yeah, I love the actress. She's adorable, and
Yes, he
I
is.
love her dynamic with the actress that plays Eva. So it's nothing like that, but it's very funny. I also love that the black women are the focal points, and like the sisters, and like all of them all have white sidekicks.
Ah,
They're like, let's
except for
reverse this. Let's actually show you this.
except for Cat and Chelsea.
Right, right, right,
That's
right.
funny. Um,
Um, I think that I don't really see a lot of chemistry between Kat and Tomas. I actually see the chemistry between Eva and Tomas. So I'm
Oh
guessing that we're
yeah.
gonna have more of a rivalry when that
Oh
happens.
yeah. There's so much story to tell about that. The
Hmm.
relationship between Kat and Eva. They were comparing Kat and Eva to Jessica and Natalie on One Life to Live,
Yeah.
because they kind of have a similar dynamic. There's so much rich story to tell in that, and I agree. I think um, he's definitely more has more chemistry with Eva. There's going to be like probably going to be like a long-term rivalry between them when it comes to not only relationship within the family, but within um, personal relationships that they have with men. I could see that happening for a long time. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. Danny is crazy, but she so gorgeous. She looks amazing in everything that she's wearing. And I'm like, if one wardrobe that I would want is Danny's wardrobe. And
Hmm.
if I had the opportunity to fit into her clothes. um, but
Right.
yeah,
Because
so
Danny and Andre got crazy chemistry too.
uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, just like it's just an overall, and I know this feels superficial, but I'll say it anyway. Overall, just a cast of beautiful people.
Yes.
Just like my goodness. Look, everybody just
Yes.
beautiful in here.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's really great, and I forgot what I was. Oh, love seeing John Lindstrom there being a bad guy.
Okay. Unapologetically so. He's
I
like,
love it. I was like, I know that's right, John
yeah.
Lindstrom. You better be over here flexing them Kevin Collins muscles. You ain't been
Ryan
home to Laura
Chamber,
in a minute.
Ryan Chamberlain vibe. He's like
Right,
definitely a mix.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. I do love seeing him. And yeah, I'm excited to see more. I'm entertained. It has kept my attention. I love the matriarch and patriarch, Anita and Vernon. Um, I was not really caring for Martin and Schmitty for a while, but last week there was something that they like put step on the gas to like make their dynamic better for me. So we'll see what happens with them and like their secret. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Martin is just like he seems like a hot mess and I don't like his character, but the actor, he has like he seems so sweet. Like he has like
yes.
this Instagram account and he's handsome. He's all of the things. But I don't like his character.
Yeah.
Such a
No,
heavy
I like
busybody guy.
Schmitty. I like
Yeah.
Schmitty.
Smitty, yeah.
Hmm.
He's a cool person. So yeah. And yeah, I want Haley to suffer. Just because at first I felt
Yeah,
sorry for her, but
I
now
never
it's
felt
just
sorry
like
for her.
I did a little bit because she's just, she's cute. She's like a cute, gorgeous woman. And so I was just like, oh, everyone's picking on her. But now she's just like, she has no self-awareness about what she's done and how that's destroyed a family, and she don't seem to care. And so now I don't feel sorry for her. So yeah, she needs to come up.
Hmm.
I love it. It's hilarious though how the waiters in the the clubhouse treat her. Like they literally ignore her. She has to be like, excuse me."
Hmm.
Like what I like about this show is like that the side characters are just as hilarious as the main characters. They are really into it. They're taking their one shot and going for it. And it's funny and
Hmm.
entertaining. So yeah, if you guys like the show, let us know in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, let us know what you think. And now that life is hopefully, fingers crossed, prayers up, continuing to life a little less. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more when we have a little more time.
We'll be
So
like,
please make sure.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
we'll call it Beyond GH. on to the
Ooh,
games.
fancy.
RBI.
Tanya, Tanya's cooking today. This is the Saturday shift, okay?
Yeah, the Saturday shift.
Tanya's cooking. Okay. Well, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend about us. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week. Bye.